Hi, Barbara Barker here with RE/MAX 10 Lincoln Park in Chicago. I'm a realtor who practices mostly in Chicago and neighboring suburbs. If you are looking to buy a condo and you would like to know the process, this is where to start. So I'll go fast and easy for you. And if you have any other questions, you can feel free to email me or text me. So number one, you want to work with a really good realtor who does mostly condo sales, who knows neighborhoods in Chicago, a wide variety of neighborhoods in Chicago, and who knows suburbs that you're looking within. If they aren't familiar and they think that they will not be able to represent you very well in certain neighborhoods, then they'll usually let you know up front and refer you to another agent that might be better equipped to assist you. So number one, find a really good realtor that you feel that can represent you to the best ability. Then number two, get mortgage broker referrals. So the realtors that you talk to may be able to point you in the right direction as far as what mortgage broker to work with. I particularly have about 4 that I work with, and they all have different amazing qualities. And if a mortgage broker doesn't do a good job for me or a client, or I don't have confidence in them, I will not recommend them. So trust that the recommendations that I provide are very sound and reliable. So you will find a mortgage broker to work with. They will ask you for a lot of documents for your pre-approval. Now, if you want to get a pre-approval, you're going to have to provide last 2 pay stubs, last 3 months of bank statements, last 2 years of tax returns. There's a variety of things that they're going to ask for you may not have on hand. So that's why it takes a few weeks to get a pre-approval done, which you want to do ahead of time before you start searching for a property, because that pre-approval is going to determine what your maximum monthly allowance is. So if you have a property that you like that's $150,000, the assessments are $400 a month, and the taxes are $5,000, but your pre-approval says you're only allowed up to $150,000 purchase price and $300 a month in assessments and $3,000 a year in taxes, and that property is not going to be right for you. I would hate to show you and then you fall in love with it, and that's that. We can't purchase it. So just get that done out of the way before you set up your search. Now, number 3, you're going to set up a search with the realtor. Be very specific in what you're looking for. Say you're looking for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Lincoln Park or Des Plaines or Niles or wherever it might be. Make sure you tell your realtor that you have a dog or a cat, and how much does your dog weigh, because a lot of buildings also have pet weight limitations. So we will put all of those criteria items into your search, and then we will send you a search based on those specifics. Now, if you find a property on Zillow and say that, oh my God, it's perfect for me, but your dog is 45 pounds and it says that the weight limit's 30 pounds, there's a reason why that didn't show up in your search, because there are some things that don't fit well with your criteria in that listing, which ended up not coming your way. So we want to set up a search, and then once you've allocated a few properties that you like, on the MLS, there's a way to click interested on each of them, and then that'll go onto my side of the MLS, and I'll see what you're interested in. Then I could set up showings for you. We can go see them together. I could point out some important information about each property and kind of a little bit about what to look out for in terms of building management, health, and property care and property maintenance. So that's number 3. We set up the search. We're going out to look at properties. 4, we then decide, okay, this property is for me. I want to put in an offer. All right, great. So what I'll do is I'll do a CMA for you, a comparative market analysis, analyzing the value of that property. So then whenever you get an average, say the property's worth $150, but they have it listed at $165, we now have a starting point as to where to put your initial offer. And I would recommend $150 because that is closer to the value, and we will drive hard. I will actually personally negotiate on your behalf and tell them, the seller and his agent, why their property is overpriced, and here are the comps that we pulled, and this is why we think our offer is fair. So we'll go back and forth in negotiating. We'll have to see if they will accept the lower offer. Maybe the seller might want us to take it as is, because if we take it as is, we won't ask for any repairs or repair credits during the home inspection. So say the seller takes your offer and signs the contract. So the seller signed the contract. That brings us to number 5. Number 5 is offer acceptance. Now, a lot of things happen in this period of offer acceptance. You have to schedule your inspection. You have to provide the initial earnest money, which is typically $1,000, to the seller's agent's brokerage. Then you have to send the contract to your attorney and your mortgage broker, and then they will start working on the contract. The attorney reviews the contract, and he starts preparing a letter for you as far as what they want to ask for from the seller. Now, there might be additional language he wants or she wants to be put into the contract. There might be a documentation from the condominium association that your attorney might want to include in the due diligence period, and they might need to ask for some additional credits or whatnot. Now, the inspection is going to coincide with the attorney review. Now, we also have the condominium review that is determining the health of the building financially, and as far as property condition is concerned, we want to look at that too. If there's any major projects coming up that might flag a special assessment, we want to see how much money they have in the savings account and see the meeting minutes. Maybe they had a meeting last month that talked about redoing the roof that might cost $2 million, and each owner has to split the cost of that. That would affect your assessments. So there are a lot of things that we, after the contract is accepted, that we start to put under the microscope. So I will touch on the inspection. The inspection, that's offer acceptance. Now we're going into 6. We're going to the inspection time, now we're going into the inspection review. So you're going to have an inspector come by. Generally, for a small condo, it's about $350, and that inspector is going to go up and down the unit and make sure everything's working. Anything that he could see or she could see with his or her own eyes. Like, they are not going to go in and check the plumbing inside the walls or the electrical inside the walls. They can only pull the electrical, the circuit breaker panel off and see if wires are connected, to the breakers properly, if anything has a reverse polarity or this and that, or if wires are ungrounded, they can see that. But there are devices that they use, like for the outlets, that'll show these things. So basic things like that will show up on the inspection report, and you might have like 20 items and it'll freak you out because you're just kind of blown away. Some are small, some are big. So we'll review it together, you and I, and then we'll go ahead and tell the attorney to put these items in the attorney review letter that you want to have repaired or credited towards your closing costs. So next, condominium review. The condominium review consists of asking for a thing called a 22.1 disclosure. The attorney will request that your attorney will request it from the seller's attorney. The seller's attorney will go to the condominium association with this blank form called the 22.1 disclosure, have the association, a board president or the manager fill it out and return it back to us. It'll ask questions like how much money is in the reserve fund account. Are there any delinquent owners? How many owners have not paid their assessments in the last how much amount of time. And there's other questions, are there special assessments coming up? You know, all these questions you're going to get answered, and then the buyer's attorney is also going to ask for declarations, bylaws, rules, regulations, last 2 years of meeting minutes or last 1 year of meeting minutes. So we're going to really drill hard at the information that's provided to us in the attorney review period from the Condominium Association, and make sure that this is a good building to buy in. What if the developer has half control of the building and he moved to, say, Poland or something and just left the building halfway done? So you want to see where the building's at in terms of health. Now, whenever you're done with reviewing and doing the extra due diligence, the seller is going to respond to the letter and say, no, 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 yes, no, 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 as a response to what your attorney requested. And then you could decide whether you want to stay or go with this property and move forward or move along. So there are going to be some issues you're going to find, but it's a question of, is it too big for me to handle, or is it able to be worked out in the near future? So that's what this period's for. Now, once the buyer and seller have agreed to these terms, these additional terms presented in attorney review, an inspection review, and condominium review, then we're going to go ahead and move forward with the contract. And you're going to provide usually about 2.5% of the sale price more in earnest money or deposit money. So provide that check to the seller's broker, which is deposited into an escrow account. And side note, the money that you provide the seller's broker for your earnest money, you're going to have that applied at the end towards your settlement statement and your closing charges. So it'll be credited later on. Now, 6, after the offer's been accepted and you've gone through attorney review, condominium review, inspection review, then you're going to go through your mortgage contingency. Mortgage contingency just means that your contract is contingent on you receiving and obtaining a mortgage. Now you're going to have to really focus on working with your mortgage broker at this point, and I'm going to fade out. Your attorney's going to fade out, and we're just going to let you focus on the loan. Now, there are going to be additional documents the mortgage broker is going to be asking for. Some are going to be repetitive, so just comply and just continue to work with them and get things as soon as possible, because each day does, cause a lag in the mortgage process. So once you've given everything to your mortgage broker that he or she requests, then he or she is going to send all those documents to underwriting. Underwriting is the department that double checks the file, and they make sure that there's nothing missing and everything's compliant. So once underwriting receives that, they will review it, and then they will give you an approval, a loan approval, or a conditional approval. If you have a conditional approval, there are still some items that are missing that you should provide, and then they will add that in, re-review it, and then give you a loan approval, hopefully. So if you do not get approved for your loan, there is the period within the contract that allows you to obtain a loan. And if you can't get one, then you can cancel the contract within that time, and then you can receive the earnest money that you provided earlier and cancel the contract, providing a termination letter from your attorney. So say that your loan is approved. Yay! Number 7, you are getting ready for the closing. So to get prepared for the closing, you want to go ahead and set your utilities up for the closing date. So whenever you close, you can have the lights on and everything when you're doing the property walkthrough. And you want to get your money together that you need for the closing, so you have the rest of your down payment to come up with, or you have I don't know, extra closing costs you have to pay down. You're going to get this information from your attorney most likely on how much money to bring to the closing table. So on this day, the closing day, you want to go to the property before the closing. If it's too early, then you can probably go the night before and do a walkthrough with your realtor and just make sure the property is in the same condition. And if there were any repairs that you had requested in the inspection review, the seller's attorney is going to, if you had any repairs that were requested to do from the inspection review, you're going to go to the walkthrough and make sure those repairs were done before you go to the closing. Now, once you walk through the property and you're at the closing table, now would be a good time that you saw something that wasn't the same. Maybe a pipe bursted, or maybe the refrigerator's missing. Now we have to kind of dig our heels into the ground here and make sure you do not close on that property unless that issue is settled, because after you leave the closing, the seller is like, bye, I got my money and I don't want to deal with this property again. But there's a way to hold on, there's a way to hold the seller to perform. You can have a holdback. You can take, say the damages that were found equal $5,000. Well, you can say, seller, we're going to hold back $5,000 from you until this is settled. And if it's not settled within a certain amount of time, we're going to go ahead and take that $5,000. So that's a way that you can still close and move into the property, but also have the reassurance that the seller will fix these things, or that you will have payment for said issues as a result of closing without those things being fixed before. So that's just the nitty-gritty of the whole condominium timeline. And if you need any other information, or if you have any questions about anything I've said, this is very brief. Feel free to email me at info@low-properties.com or call me at 312-798-9675. Thanks and have a great day.